With us now live, post-debate coverage, is former Vice President Joe Biden of Delaware. Mr. Vice President, first off, how did you think tonight went? And second, talk about this as a showing for the party, things like debating whether or not there should be billionaires in the United States.
Well, I think what it did was it showed a little bit about whether or not Mike Bloomberg was really a Democrat. I mean, the basic values he has, he's a good guy, but the basic values he had are still basically Republican. It also exposed the fact that these ads he's running, that he and Obama were such close buddies. He didn't support Obama. He didn't support the Affordable Care Act. He didn't support the vast majority of what we tend to do, including on Wall Street. And so I think this idea, all these ads, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of ads about he and Barack just are not accurate. And I think that what it did, it also pointed out that with regard to health care, there is an overwhelming need to do something that's rational. And Bernie still hasn't answered the question. How much is it going to cost? Who's going to pay for it? He talks about this savings. You know, in Vermont, they did pass the Affordable Care Act. They did pass Medicare for all. It doubled the income tax of the state. It put a 14% tax on income, withholding tax, and they got rid of it. So the idea that this can be done quickly is just simply not true. Simply not true. And with regard to immigration, the fact is that Bernie, in fact, did vote against the bill in 2007. Had it passed, there would already be 6 million undocumented who are citizens. And he said, well, that's because it was viewed as a slavery. Well, he cited LULAC. Teddy Kennedy voted for that bill. Barack Obama voted for that bill. Hillary Clinton voted for that bill. I voted for that bill. The idea that we voted for slavery is absolutely bizarre. 6 million people would already be citizens. And the last point I want to make is, and I had this discussion earlier, and that is that there's a lot coming out now that we knew before. In the Atlantic magazine pointing out that Bernie's desire to primary Barack in 2012. Barack should be primaried in 2012. This idea that this is a unity Democratic Party was simply not the case. And so there's a lot that people are beginning to learn. And the last point I'll make, Brian, is that I've been in the lead for the vast majority of the time. Understandably, the target's been on my back. I've been vetted 60 days from Wednesday, and I'm not complaining. Never complain, never explain. But I've been vetted, and I'm still in good shape. And what now is going to happen is Bernie's going to get vetted a way he never has been before. You saw Mike getting vetted in a way that he never thought he was going to have happen. So I just think there's a lot tonight that came out that warranted coming out.
All right, let's shift the focus ahead to South Carolina. How are you going to do there? Is there any other place but first for you there? And who gets the Clyburn endorsement?
Well, I think I get the Clyburn endorsement. We'll soon find out. I think that we're going to see that I do very well there. And whether I have to be number one or that remains to be seen, because we go right into Super Tuesday. I have more African-American support than anybody running in either on any spectrum of the Democratic Party, because they know my heart, they know where I've been, they know who I am, they know why I got involved in the first place. I feel very, very, very good about it. And so we move into states where the polling data shows, and NBC's polling data shows, that I am likely to be able to be the winner. We're going to be able to win in, I think I can help candidates win for the Senate in North Carolina, in Arizona, clearly in Pennsylvania and in Michigan, and states we have to win. I'm ahead of Trump by 8 points in those states, and I can't imagine all those frontline folks we went in for, that is in purple districts. I went into 24 states, campaigned for 65 candidates. We won 41 seats. The vast majority of those people have asked me they've come and endorsed me. They want me in the ticket. So I'm feeling very good about where this goes from here, Brian.
A final question, Mr. Vice President. I'm sitting here with Nicole Wallace, who asked a version of this question when you were last on her broadcast, and perhaps it's symmetry because the two of us covered the live impeachment hearings out of this studio, where we heard your name invoked sometimes, several times per minute. Of course, in politics, you don't get rewarded for those kinds of mentions. And as a consumer, as a viewer, I feel like I know how much your son was paid on the board of Burisma. I don't know. I feel like he might have worked for Chinese or Romanian companies. I don't know. That's what the president and forces loyal to Donald Trump have said about your son, Hunter. You chose not to engage. We don't know the Biden family story from Joe Biden. So respectfully, Mr. Vice President, are you cool with that decision? Are you okay that your story was taken by other forces outside your family?
The answer is I am, as you say, cool with it because you guys know for a fact that what they told and said about me are flat lies. You won't even run the ads that that Trump has put forward and the millions of dollars, over I don't know how many, $12, $15 million of negative ads. Every single person who testified under oath that worked for this administration said, I did my job well. I did it what the American policy was, the European policy, the IMF. Not a single person said I did anything other than what was honorable, period. Period. And I'll be darned if I'm going to play the president's game, which he is an expert at, which is to decide that what you're going to do is you're going to take the eye off of what he did and try to focus on something that has nothing to do with whether he did his job. The Republicans in the Senate acknowledged what he did, acknowledged how they went after me unfairly, acknowledged how they lied about me. And, in fact, what happened? They, in fact, acquitted him, and now he has free reign. I'm going to beat this man like a drum. I'm telling you, I can hardly wait to debate him. I want to debate him about corruption. Talk about corruption. This is the most corrupt president we've ever had in American history. So I can hardly wait, Brian. I'm not going to play his game. I'm not going to get into the idea of whether or not I have to defend anything. What he did was impeachable. He got impeached. He should have been convicted. They acknowledged he should have been, that he committed the crimes that he, in fact, they said he did, but they said it wasn't enough to impeach him. This is outrageous.
Mr. Vice President, it's Nicole again. The answer you just gave, why didn't that have a home for you or anybody else on that stage tonight? As you know, I'm sure, tomorrow morning Roger Stone will be sentenced. Reporters have tried to ask the president if he's considering a pardon for him. You gave such an eloquent articulation of how the president has abused his office, about the danger of the rule of law. Why wasn't that a feature in tonight's debate?
Because we ended up answering the questions that were asked, Nicole. You know, it's awful hard to get off the focus of what you're being asked to do. And the question here was, you know, as I said to Mike Bloomberg, when we were walking off, I said, welcome to the party, man. You know, now that you've spent these hundreds of millions of dollars going out making the case that you're the Democrat and you've done all these things, now you're going to be scrutiny. Same with Bernie. Look, Bernie, the idea that Ted Kennedy, Joe Biden, Barack Obama voted for slavery, as he said, that because we voted for the immigration bill, 6 million people would be citizens right now. Mothers, fathers, moms, dads, uncles, aunts. This is crazy. It's about time we start to figure out all the garbage out there that, in fact, is simply not being said that's truthful. It's about being straightforward. And I'm going to have plenty of time to talk, and I've talked on your programs and others about how bad this president has weaponized the Justice Department. This president has no social redeeming value or sense of constitutional propriety. Not at all. As I said before, this guy is more George Wallace than George Washington. Watch, he's not only going to go after Stone, he's going to forgive everybody out there that, in fact, he thinks stayed with him and lied lied to the United States Congress or lied to the Attorney General's office.
Mr. Vice President, thank you for taking our questions tonight. As we say to all the candidates, safe travels ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Minnesota Democratic